I really thought that this Ohio State-Penn State game would provide a lot more juice than it did, but we're still here to do bold predictions. It is Ohio State-Penn State. It is not a top 10 matchup. It's not a top 5 matchup. It is 7-0 versus 3-4. It is number 1 in the country versus number 1 on a lot of hot boards for who's going to be the next head coach. It's pretty crazy, Mick, but we're still going to do bold predictions because it's Ohio State-Penn State. It still means a lot to a lot of people, so we're going to talk about it. How you doing, Mick? Happy Friday.
I'm doing great. I'm ready to be back in the shoe. We haven't been back there, and it feels like a while. I know it's been like a month at this point. It's going to be good to get in there and listen to some Ohio by camp, and then listen to some of the other songs that play in the shoe and see some of the traditions. So
War Pigs.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think the crowd is still going to be rocking. People paid a lot of money for these tickets early in the season, so no reason to be quiet now that you already have the ticket. You're already there. So, and if you don't have your ticket yet, go to the Game Time app and at gametime.co. Use the code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase in the Game Time app and at gametime.co. Get your tickets today. They're pretty cheap. Let's do bold predictions, Mick. You know what? I will give you the honors on the tee box on this fine All Hallows Eve.
Let's see. It's tough. I'm balancing the fight of Spencer said this one last time versus not making sure it's bold enough, but I'm just going to do it anyways. I'm going to double down on Spencer's triple down last time, which is I'm saying Jeremiah Smith triple ding dong with touchdowns here. I think there's going to be an effort to get Jeremiah Smith the ball after a slow game against Wisconsin. You're on the national stage. You want to get him to Blitnikoff. You want to put Julian Sain in the spot for the Heisman. This is when you do it against a premier program, despite the fact that they don't have a head coach in a premium time slot, and you get those numbers up. So we'll go 150-plus yards and 3 touchdowns for Jeremiah Smith against A.J. Harris and the Nittany Lions secondary.
So I'll just get it out of the way, too, then, because this is going to be my third bold predictions. But I do think Ohio State is going to get Jeremiah Smith over 100 yards in this game. So that was one of mine. So we don't talk about this before the show because I think it's more fun to be more spontaneous, a little more unusual, if you will, for both of us here. We don't talk about these things. So one of my bold predictions is that Jeremiah Smith will have over 100 yards. It's weird, Mick, because he's the best wide receiver in college football. We know that. Best doesn't always mean biggest numbers or best stats. Jeremiah hasn't went over the 100-yard mark since the Ohio game. So at this point, it is a little bold to predict that he'll get over 100 yards. Jim Knowles knows how good he is. We talked to Jim Knowles last year about how good freshman Jeremiah Smith was. He knows that very well. That doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to take him away. And I think Zakee Wheatley and Zion Tracy and A.J. Harris and King Mack, which that's a real name, King Mack. He's one of my favorite names in college football. He plays safety for Penn State. That entire secondary is going to do everything they can to take him away. I still think Ohio State is going to get creative in ways to get him the football. I think they're going to have things against this Jim Knowles defense because they know this Jim Knowles defense. So I think they're going to get him over 100 yards. That is not something that he's done regularly. Even throughout his career, he's been remarkable. I'm not saying he hasn't, but 100 yards has been kind of a thing trying to get him there. He had 97 the last time out against Wisconsin. I think he's going to get over 100 yards. We don't have to talk about that any further, but both of us have a Jeremiah Smith bold prediction. I guess we agree.
You think we'll put a little? I like to throw Spencer off or throw him a little question. Ohio State's coming off an off week here. We saw kind of what they were able to do in the college football playoff last year. When you get these off weeks, not only does it give you time to rest, but gives Ryan Day more time to maybe get in the offensive meeting room with Brian Hartline. You think we maybe see like a rushing touchdown or maybe a nice little screen, something a little creative for Jeremiah Smith to get him the ball on Saturday?
Yeah, probably. I think they'll cook something up.
A little twist, maybe a little twist on something.
A little wok pan. You ever use a wok pan, Mick?
I haven't. You think Brian Day has? That's the better question.
Yeah, right. Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, all those guys. I think they were in the kitchen, flipping the wrist, cooking, using the wok pan if they had to. I think they're gonna get Jeremiah Smith the football in numbers on Saturday. So we can both win on this bold prediction. Yours is a little more bold than mine. Yours has a little bit more of that cayenne in it. Mixed into the recipe. I'll go ahead and snake around here, Mick, just so we don't, so we can get some new blood in here. I think Ohio State's going to pick off 2 passes. I think Ethan Grunkemeyer has a little bit. I actually like him a lot. I think he's a good player. I think Penn State's probably going to, well, I don't know because the next head coach will be able to do whatever he wants, I suppose. But there's a world in which Ethan Grunkemeyer is the starting quarterback at Penn State next year, whether James Franklin was the head coach or not, because I think he does have some talent. But I also think that it's a really tall ask for him, even after an off week, to take care of the football at a level against this Matt Patricia defense, know exactly what he's diagnosing and seeing at every step of the way. I think Ohio State's going to force a couple turnovers on him. I think it's going to be 2 interceptions, but it wouldn't surprise me if maybe it's a strip sack and an interception. I just think Ohio State's going to get in his head a little bit, rattle him just a bit, and force 2 turnovers on him. It might be a long day for the kid. And you know what? Like, objective observer probably says, oh, it'd be cool if he played well in the horseshoe against Ohio State. But, you know, I do think that Ohio State's going to give him some trouble.
I love that one. I think I've predicted almost every member of the secondary have an interception at some point this season.
Yeah, we got to get you off that pack, man.
And they just don't do it all that often because you know what? It's hard when you're just this defensive line's playing this well and the linebackers are playing this well. You don't really have that many opportunities to just pick off passes. These quarterbacks don't have time to make dumb decisions. I'm going to say that the Penn State offense won't have the opportunity to put the ball in the end zone on Saturday. I'm not predicting a shutout. I think that we could see a couple sad Nittany Lion field goals, but I think the scarlet area end zones here in the shoe, we're not seeing the Penn State Nittany Lions crossover through them with the ball on Saturday.
The thing that I keep coming back to is that 2023 Penn State-Ohio State game where Drew Aller was coming to the horseshoe for the first time, and it was supposed to be like him against a really good defense. He had been really good all year, and Penn State scored 6 points until 1 minute to go in that game. And they punched in a touchdown to make it 20-12, which ended up being the final score. And it was like, man, this Penn State offense is terrible. Well, I think that Penn State offense was better than what this Penn State offense was. And I think this Ohio State defense is better than what the 2023 Ohio State defense was. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. Keeping Penn State out of the end zone would be a nice pelt on for Matt Patricia to collect here. I think it would be big stuff.
It'll be fascinating too, because again, you don't want to talk about a shutout too much. You don't want to pull off any jinxes for anybody that believes in that type of stuff. But Ryan Day's not one to come in and just blast an opening statement in front of us in the post game press conference. But if Ohio State pitched a second straight shutout after what they did to Wisconsin and how he talked about it, then he might just go on for a couple minutes when he walks up to that podium, because whenever they do get a shutout, he likes to remind us how hard it is to actually get a defensive shutout.
So, my third bold prediction, Mick. Thursday, I mentioned a stat on the show. If you didn't watch that show, first of all, shame.
Please go back and watch it.
Yeah,
and like the video, subscribe, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
I imagine if you're noon kickoff, this one's going to be a shorter one. The one yesterday was a shorter one. You can get those both in on the drive to the tailgate lot. Get them in while you're picking up maybe a Modelo or something on the way into the game. So don't worry about it. Just go ahead and listen to both of them. Shame a little bit, but you still have the opportunity to make up for it.
I'll take it back to shame and just say tisk tisk. Come on, get with the program. Watch the Thursday show. It's fun. We have a good time. Mick, we should have done this with costumes on, man. It's Halloween. Next year on Halloween, we're dressing up.
Next year, okay, next year. All
right, there's always next year. What was I going to say?
Penn State motto as well.
Oh, yeah, bold predictions. Yeah, those things. That's the show we're doing here. So yesterday, Thursday's show, I mentioned that Penn State was giving up $158 on the ground. That's 90th nationally. In Big Ten play, they're giving up 202 yards per game on the ground. That is a grotesque number for a proud defense. A lot of that's been quarterback run. Mark Gronowski had a really nice day on the ground. And Nico Iamaleava had just a ridiculous day on the ground. He looked like the greatest quarterback to ever live in the Rose Bowl that day.
Are you doing it, Spence? Are you going? I'm fascinated. I think I know where he's going here. I'm fascinated to hear this full prediction.
No, I just think both of the freshmen are going to find the end zone, which is pretty bold considering that Bo Jackson only has 2 rushing touchdowns this season, and Isaiah West has 1. Bo's, they haven't been against good competition, and I still think that this Penn State defense is good. It's so weird to talk about this Penn State defense. I name these players in my head, and I'm like, man, that's got to be what? Top 10, top 15 unit in the country? They're pretty good. And you look at all the stats, and it's like, no, they're terrible defensively. How is this happening? How is this a thing? Who did this? I know who did this. We won't talk about that. We talked about it in the Lettermen Lounge message board on Thursday a little bit. But so if you want to go catch back up with that, you can. $1 for your first 7 days. But like, I think both of these freshman running backs are good. And if you watch the Iowa tape against Penn State, there are missed tackles. I think it's an effort thing, to be honest, because, again, at some point, this Penn State defense just kind of, well, what are we doing this for? There's a lot of broken tackles from these Iowa running backs. The two guys who are the best at breaking tackles in the Ohio State run game are the freshmen, Bo Jackson and Isaiah West. They both got a little bit more wiggle than C.J. Donaldson and James Peoples do. I think both of them are going to have a rushing touchdown, and I think one of them is going to be from beyond 50 yards. I think they're finally going to hit a home run in the run game. So 2 rushing touchdowns, at least for Ohio State, one of them for each of the freshman running backs, and we'll see what happens from there. But I think they're going to be able to run the ball on this Penn State team.
I love that one. I love any bold prediction with Isaiah West in it. So there you go. You gotta establish a run, which is another Thursday show call out, and you can run the darn ball as well, if you would like to say it in that term.
Yeah,
sure. I thought you were going to go when you mentioned the running quarterbacks is I thought you might bring in the South Dakota slinger here. You might say Lincoln Keenholz gets in the game, runs one in. I do think Lincoln Keenholz is going to get in the game in the fourth quarter of this thing, but I don't think he's going to be running one in it. I think he's going to connect with Quincy Porter for a touchdown. I don't think there's the Ohio State fans on social media saying, hey, Ohio State's going to hang 50 on Jim Knowles or do that. I don't think Ryan Day has this idea that he really wants to do that, but I don't think he's going to tell Lincoln Keenholz that he can't throw the ball in the fourth quarter when he goes in. So,
yeah, who is he, a cop? Yeah, let him throw it.
I think Lincoln Keenholz throws a touchdown against Penn State, and I think if you made me drill down on who, I think it goes to the QP Quincy Porter.
All right, well, that makes sense. I will say that does make sense. I'm not going to predict that. Some things in life, Mick, are just made for each other. Peanut butter and jelly, Mick Walker and Lettermen Row, macaroni and cheese, Modelo and college football. If you're listening to this, it means you live and breathe football all season long. You live and breathe Ohio State football all season long. Let's drill down there. You know what? That makes you a full-time fan, which makes you deserve a Modelo, because football wouldn't be the same without you. Modelo is the official beer sponsor of the college football playoff. Ohio State fans, Buckeye Nation, grab a Modelo today. Mick, it's time. We're going to predict this game. I think I know where we're both going to go with this game, but it's going to all be presented by the folks over at BetMGM. It's time to lock in those Saturday showdowns. Take your excitement to the next level with the Parlay Boost token from BetMGM. Log into your BetMGM account to receive your token, then add any college football parlay to your bet slip and apply that token. Just make sure you bet up to the minimum stake odds and legs specified for the token. If your boosted parlay hits, you'll score a bigger payout. Claim your Parlay Boost token and make this season unforgettable. BetMGM, make it legendary. See BetMGM for terms, 21 and over. Only U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S., 1-877-HOPE-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with the Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Mick, it's time to make a pick on this game. Ooh, Mick's picks. Oh my gosh, I think I just came up with something. Stay tuned for Mick's picks, ladies and gentlemen. Mick, Ohio State is at current, as we record this show, as we live and breathe, Mick, a 20.5-point favorite. The total on this game is down. Actually, it's up a tick to 44.5. Who you got? What's the final score?
I'm going to take Ohio State with the points, but I'm going to take the under. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't think Penn State's putting a lot of points on the board to hold up their end of the over. So take the under there, but I see Ohio State winning by I think I had it down as 34-6 or 34-3 when you asked us for our prediction. So I got them covering the 20.5, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm giving the points as well, Mick. Look, this is one of my favorite games every year.
And it's not coming back for a while either, Spence. So you got to enjoy these ones because it's going to be gone for a minute.
We got to soak it up. That's all I'm saying. I think this game goes over in a weird twist of fate here. I do think Penn State actually gets double digits. I think it's going to be 34-13. So that's a 21-point win. That is just squeaking past that number, 20.5. I'm going to give the points with the Buckeyes. The Penn State team total is really interesting to me. Over 10.5 is -120, under 10.5, -115. A little juice to the over. So there's some folks that do think that they're going to get the double digits. If you think Penn State's going to get the double digits, there's some value there on the Penn State side of things over at BetMGM. I'm not telling you to go do that. I just think that it's interesting. If you think Penn State's going to get the double digits, that's something that's worth taking a look at. Penn State over that 10.5 total. I got it at 34-13. I think this game is going to be kind of a slog in the first half. Ohio State's going to pull away in the second half. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I had 34-13 for the Illinois game, and the final score was 34-16. I was close. I was super close. I was pretty upset when Illinois scored that touchdown late and then didn't get the 2, because if they would have just gotten stopped on 4th down, they would have kicked a field goal, and my final score would have been correct, 34-13. So I'm going to go back to that well. Hopefully it's not dry. And we'll go 34-13. Ohio State wins. That over hits. That is 47. So, yeah, the over will hit in that. And I just think that Ohio State's going to be able to control Penn State enough. And 2 years ago we got 20-12. Last year we got 20-13. I don't think we're getting 20-14 in this game. So I'm going to go 34-13. Buckeyes win.
I like that one. I can see that one. You talking about it there with the double-digit points, and it's just fascinating to think of what Ohio State held Washington to 6 points, and I think the Penn State fan base would take the Washington offense over this one. So it's hard for me to see double digits, but like we talked about on the Thursday show again. Trick plays, little things, who knows? Maybe Penn State finds a way to engineer some points.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to watch it. A couple other things that I got. I've been on Virginia a lot of the year. I've been vindicated in that opinion that they are decent. I think the luck runs out, LRO, on Saturday. So I got it at 4.5. It's up to 5.5 now at BetMGM. I think California is going to cover that spread. I think Virginia going across the country just might be time for them to go. Yeah, California over Virginia. I've been to both states, buddy. I'm taking California. And then some in-state pride here, Mick. I've got Cincinnati covering the 9.5 against Utah. I think Utah is good. I think it's really hard to play at Rice Eccles Stadium at night, but give me Cincinnati, man. There's something about that Cincinnati team I really like. They're going to be without Evan Pryor this week, which I think is a big bummer for them. He's been a really good player. Ohio State fans obviously know him pretty well from his time at Ohio State. But Brendan Sorsby, Joe Royer, I think they've got enough to keep that thing close at Rice Eccles, especially if Dampier doesn't play for Utah. Like, I think this Cincinnati team is pretty good. So I'll go ahead and take Cincinnati plus the 9.5. It's a short card this week. I haven't done a lot of research. I've been pretty busy this week with some other things here at home. And we get to stay at home this week, Mick. It's the first time we're going to the Horseshoe in a month, man. I can't wait. That is Mick Walker on the other side of your screen. We are just 2 of the 5 members of the Brain Trust over at Lettermen Row. Alex Gleitman, Jeremy Berm, and Mick on the recruiting side. Austin Ward and I on the team side. That's the team. That's how we do it. $1 for your first 7 days. Go there, get all the coverage from Ohio State, Penn State, and beyond. For Mick, I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys back here on the YouTube channel, on the field in the Horseshoe, following Ohio State, Penn State, and we'll see you guys over at LettermenRow.com.